element of any religion is love. And once you feel that, then I think it's just something that takes over more of your life, because the yoga and the helping other people, are two of the things that help send my life in this whole new positive direction. I think spirituality is very important to people.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in prison in America. This is one of the highest prison populations in the world, right?
Yeah.
Do you think this is like slavery or worse than slavery? What do you think of it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a documentary put out by the BBC, Storyville, The House I Live In, The War on Drugs, and it compares the US prison system to a form of racial control and extermination along the same lines as Auschwitz, but in a much more subtly. Because if you look at the makeup of the prison population, it's low economic neighborhoods. There's a lot of Mexican American people in there, a disproportionate amount. And there's on the East Coast, a lot black population is massive. Laws like the crack laws, the Rockefeller drug laws, white guy gets arrested with cocaine, gets a couple of years. Black guy gets arrested with crack over here, he gets 50 years. And all these companies are making $50,000 a year of taxpayers' money per prisoner. It's just a big racket. People who've got drug problems, they're trying to fill a void inside themselves. Putting them somewhere where it's just completely gang-controlled mayhem, and where there's all these drugs and people are shooting up and contracting all these diseases. It's a disaster for them and the taxpayer. Nixon, who introduced the war on drugs, he felt secretly, didn't put this out to the media, that if you do drugs, you need counselling, you need rehabilitation, you need help to fill that thing that's hurting your soul. He went out and increased sentences for drug offenders, and his popularity went off the scale in the polls. And every politician ever since has followed that model. That's why the situation is like it is, because if a politician says, let's reverse all this, he's going to get elected out of office. Yeah? But more people are waking up to what's going on. There's a backlash now in America, because everyone in America either has a family member or a friend or knows someone in prison. And even Arizona has just recently made medical marijuana legal out there. There's 2 million young people in this country right now can't get jobs because they've got petty convictions revolving around marijuana. And I think that's ridiculous. I'm not saying go out and get stoned off your brains, but let's be practical about it. Yeah. Okay.
Two things. Once, when you were sentenced, when you went to prison, did you find out who your friends were? And secondly, when you were released, did you struggle to adjust?
Okay. When everything gets crazy and bad, you're going to definitely find out who your real friends are. My friends owe me hundreds of thousands, and I think some of them just glad I was arrested so that they would never have to repay me. Some of them, did stay by me. A lot of the ones who got arrested, actually, I think it was over 100 people arrested, and only 4 people cooperated against me, which was quite remarkable. Some of them out there are still doing drugs, and nearly every year, 1 or 2 of them dies for one reason or another. And the second part was about adjusting, how did I adjust? A lot of guys get out and they don't have family to go to, but I had my family to go to up in the northwest. My mum said I was like a puppy dog following her around the house waiting for orders. So I was a bit institutionalised. One of the first mistakes I made, when I was getting released, I've been in transportation, Con Air, for a couple of days, going across Arizona and California. They put me on a regular flight from LA to London, and they put me on first, take my chains off so I don't scare the passengers. All the people are getting on, I can smell, women's perfume and the alcohol and all this, really sensitive to smell. Well, I put my hand up, and that's the female member of the cabin crew permission for me to use the toilet. So you don't need to ask, it's right there, now we're bright red. So that was the way my mind was working. It took me about a year to get my head straight. I did actually go out and start drinking with my mates, thinking that was going to solve things. I can't do drugs now, but I can drink. I remember passing out after having my first couple of Guinnesses and some pub. But that just ended up exacerbating things as well, so I stopped that now as well. And then I moved down south, and I connected with the right people in London. And that's how I got the talks going, and that's how I got my literary agent going, and my books going, and everything's just come together for me. So that was my whole adjustment process. It took quite a while, but I feel like
Do you still trade on the stock market? And if not, why?
I did a little bit last year. I made some money in some technologies and biotech shares, but we only had a couple of grand to invest. I remember when, at the peak of my wealth, I'd wake up and look at my portfolio. I bought 30,000 shares in an Indonesian satellite company at around $5 a share, and that went up to over $50 a share. And I'd wake up, I think one morning I was at like $100,000. Yeah, and my wife at that time, I sold her to Max a credit card out and put it in the stock market. She started out with 10 grand and that ended up going up to over 100,000. She went out and bought an SUV with it and all this stuff. But I realised happiness isn't money. We can buy all these things. Happiness is in the heart. And I thought it was, making money was the meaning of life. And I had to learn that it's not. Not against the success of making money, I still aim to achieve that in the long run. But taking the time out to enjoy family and friends and small things is just as important, if not more important. Okay? Yep.
At the height of the drug dealing, how many drugs were you dealing up when you were making? How many customers did you have?
Well, I never kept written records for obvious reasons, but I had 200 people working for me. My right-hand man, he rented an apartment where the cash was stored, which nobody else knew about. It went up to the biggest shipment I ever had my smugglers bring in, about 30,000 to 40,000 bills at the time. This was all before 9/11. Don't try and do what I'm about to tell you, because you'll get arrested right away. Before 9/11, I would send people, don't fly someone from Arizona to Holland, it's a red flag, come back, busted right away. So fly someone to France, Germany, they get the train over to Holland, put all these pills in pillowcases in their luggage or in computer towers, screwed together in computer towers, and then train back over to France. Don't fly back to America back then. Fly into Mexico. I had property rented in Mexico. We fly from Mexico City then over to the western side of Mexico and come down to the property I had. And when there was a student holiday, when the border was completely flooded and chaotic, I have people bring the pills back over then. But since 9/11, there's just no way anyone would get away with that one. And they were selling for $25, $30 in gloves, 40,000 pills. I wasn't making all that. If you are distributing it, you're going to sell like 1,000 to somebody at $10 or 5,000 to someone at $8, and then they sell them to their people, and the people in the post office, all gets broken like that. Okay. Right, next question. Yeah.
You mentioned something about David Cameron and bringing something over about prison policy.
Yeah.
Similar. Is there a campaign against that? And if so, are you involved?
There's a lot of activism going on right now against the privatisation of a lot of different things. I was supposed to speak at the Conservative Party conference about a book ban that's just been introduced by Chris Grayling. Yeah. So I speak quite a lot in the media and stuff like that, and I continue to blog all about these things. David Cameron's exact words were, we're looking forward to the private prisons rehabilitating our prisoners. That was how he expressed it. So it's all complete PR. A magistrate up in Manchester said, up there they've got a private prison, you've got 2 guards watching a load of prisoners, it's already getting completely out of control. It's already going on, it's already been introduced. Yeah. We're looking here as a growth market because America's pretty saturated. Yeah. Just like the Mexican cartel.